about a fried egg. I lasted about 5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Monday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us. A Monday night that finds us coming off of just an unbelievable football weekend here in the state of Florida. Are you kidding me? The Miami Hurricanes' perfect season is gone. Florida State loses as a 17.5-point favorite and has now lost 11 of their last 12 ACC ball games. Florida won, and yet despite that, still fired their coach. And the Jaguars reverted back to the days of Gus Bradley over 10 years ago, because that's what it looked like in a 35-7 dismantling at the hands of the Los Angeles Rams. So it was an interesting weekend, to say the least. We all suffered together, and when the bottom line is, when the highlight for some was a firing of a head coach, you know, it just simply was not a very good weekend. We're going to spend a lot of time on the opening now at Florida after the dismissal of Billy Napier. Certainly spend a lot of time on the Jacksonville Jaguars, talking about whatever that was at Wembley Stadium in London yesterday. Florida State has come out and said, Mike Norvell is good for now. We're going to reevaluate at the end of the season. Translation, we're going to get the funds together at the end of the year, and barring probably winning out, if you're Mike Norvell, Florida State will also be looking for a head coach. So there is a lot to get into. We're with you till 10 o'clock. As always, we are glad you are spending part of your Monday evening with us. Monday Night Football doubleheader tonight. Detroit, Tampa Bay. You'd think this would be an offensive shootout. Halfway home in the second quarter, 7-0 Detroit. Jared Goff to Amon-Ra St. Brown, the only touchdown of the evening. We will keep you updated. Of course, late night Monday Night Football coming up at 10 o'clock Eastern. The Houston Texans out of the AFC South are up in Seattle. Certainly a game that is of interest here to Jaguar fans. Texans Seahawks, a 10 o'clock kick this evening. Guest lineup tonight, Ben Troop, former All-American tight end at the University of Florida. We will talk to Ben about the job opening in Gainesville for his alma mater. Why didn't it work for Billy Napier at Florida? We will also talk a little Jaguars, X's and O's with the coach Mark Duffner. 50 years coaching experience in both the college game and the NFL game. We'll have Coach Duffner coming up here later on in tonight's program. Every night on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night and Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal. It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
Two big deals of the night. Let me begin with the Jacksonville Jaguars. That was bad yesterday, Jaguar Nation. That was really bad. Now, I picked the Rams to win the game, but I picked them to win by less than a touchdown. I didn't see that coming. That was a dismantling. You know what that was? That was Gus Bradley era Jaguar football. That was, dare I say, Mike Mularkey era Jaguar football. 13 penalties, and the key word there is accepted. 13 accepted penalties. Jaguars actually committed more that the Rams declined. They only accepted 13 of them for over 100 yards. Your quarterback got sacked 7 times. That's now 14 sacks in the last 2 games. Your kicker missed another field goal, and you were just manhandled again for the second week in a row. It's as bad as they've looked, clearly going back to probably the beginning stages of last year. But again, it reminded me of Gus Bradley's time here. It reminded me of the one season under Mike Mularkey. It was pitiful. Now, you take a deep breath, right? kind of shake out the cobwebs a little bit. There are 4-3. That's factual. I didn't have them 4-3 going into the bye. Dare I say, many of you probably did not have them 4-3 going into the bye. So even though it feels like the sky is falling today after that abysmal performance at Wembley Stadium, when you look big picture, you put things into perspective, they are 4-3, and if the season ended today, if we play that game, if the season ended today after week 7, the Jacksonville Jaguars would still be in the playoffs. That's true. What's also true is if they play like they did yesterday against the Rams, they will not win another game this season. They were that bad. Now, glass half full, look at the upcoming games. 10 games remaining. Raiders, Cardinals, Jets, 2 with the Titans. It's much more manageable. The schedule on paper is easier in the final 10 than it was in the first 7. But again, if the Jaguars play in their remaining contests like they did yesterday, I don't care what NFL team they're playing, they are simply not going to beat anybody. So they need to figure out what's wrong, and they need to figure out what's wrong pretty quick. And there's a lot of wrong to go around. You could blame Trevor Lawrence yesterday. You could blame Brian Thomas Jr. and the wide receivers yesterday. You could certainly blame the offensive line. You could get on Cam Little for missing another field goal. You could blame the defense for getting absolutely no pass rush. You could blame the secondary for getting burned for the second straight week. You could put it on the penalties. You could put it on a lot of things. You want to talk about complete team victories? Yesterday was a complete team loss. Because outside of Travis Hunter, I don't think anybody played particularly well. Travis Hunter was the silver lining. Travis Hunter's the best wide receiver right now on this football team, and it's not close. The Brian Thomas Jr. stuff, I don't know what to tell you. I'm going to ask guys about it all week. I'm going to try to get to the bottom of it with former players and analysts. Look, I hear the term being thrown around, the term soft. I'm very, very careful about saying that about any NFL player because I don't believe any player in the National Football League is, quote, soft. But that seems to be the narrative going on about Brian Thomas Jr. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say that maybe there's a little timidness there. But again, I don't think you get all the way to the NFL if you're, quote, soft. But there's something going on. There's something that's problematic. You're 7 weeks in, and you got issues holding on to the ball. You got issues going across the middle, so it appears. Obviously, at this point, there is something happening there. Cam Little, again, I don't know. That 70-yard kick feels like forever ago, doesn't it? He's missed 5 kicks this year. He's missed 4 field goals and an extra point. That is a problem. Now, Liam Cohen today said they're going to keep Cam Little. I would keep Cam Little. I wouldn't cut him. Cohen said they still have a bunch of confidence in him. Fair enough. But I would bring a kicker in here to put on the practice squad. I would have another kicker in that locker room because Cam Little needs to have a little pressure put on him. He needs to make kicks, man. And I would absolutely bring a kicker in here and give them a practice squad spot. So there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to discuss. The bye does come at a great time. The team's a little banged up. The team's probably a little drained. But more so, the team has looked abysmal the last 2 weeks. And again, we're going to hear from Liam Cohen in a little bit. I don't think they need to reinvent the wheel here. They are 4-3. They did beat the Carolina Panthers, who are now 4-3, by the way. They did beat Houston. They did beat San Francisco, and they did beat Kansas City. All of a sudden, all 4 wins now look pretty good on paper. But whatever has happened the last 2 weeks, this team is in a slump. And now they have 13 days to figure it out before they play another awful team in the Las Vegas Raiders. And that Raiders game, that's probably a must-win, right? We obviously have 13 days to talk about it, but the Raiders had like less than 100 yards of total offense and a 31-0 drubbing to the Chiefs yesterday. Raiders are on a bye, too, before that Jaguar game in 13 days. You beat the Las Vegas Raiders, you're 5-3 and kind of steady the ship. If you go out there and you lose to that and you're 4-4 having to go to Houston, to me the wheels could come off pretty quick at that point. Huge game in 13 days. So that's the Jaguar big deal of the night. There is certainly a Florida Gator big deal of the night as well with the firing of Billy Napier. We will touch upon that coming up in just a moment. It is Hacker After Dark on a Monday evening here in Northeast Florida. I believe the Detroit Lions have added, yes they did, touchdown. Is that Jahmyr Gibbs? Touchdown Detroit. So,
78 yards.
Wow, a deep run for Jahmyr Gibbs. All right, Lions 14, Tampa Bay nothing. 5:51 to go in the second quarter. We will keep you updated. More on the Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll dive into the Billy Napier situation. We're glad you're with us on a Monday. Glad to be with you. It's 1010XL. It's 92.5 FM. It's Hacker After Dark.
Win or lose, nothing's off limits for us.
Picking a Brosser on the live Swamp Sessions podcast right after every Gator football game.
We'll bring out insight, analysis, and Gator passion.
Live stream from Voodoo Brewing
On
Company.
the 1010XL social channels.
Driven by Atlantic Infinity.
Bueller.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, pal, you look troubled. Is something bugging you?
This friendship isn't all upside for me, Jason. People keep asking me stuff about you.
They ask you about me?
Is it really cooler with Bueller, they ask? So I say, totally. And they say, how do you mean that? And I say, he fixes air conditioners, which literally makes somebody cool. But he also has cool sunglasses and cool people and a cool family.
And I try to make working at Bueller Air and Plumbing a really cool experience for our technicians and plumbers. We treat our people like gold, and they treat our homeowners the exact same way.
Great. Well, now there's another cool thing I've got to remember. This is a lot of responsibility, Jason.
Life can get hectic sometimes. If you don't take a moment to slow down and appreciate all the cool parts, you could miss it.
Do people ask you about me at all?
Weirdly, they do.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Homeowners, storms don't wait, so why should you? Protect your home and your wallet with Universal Roof and Contracting. Save up to 20% on roof replacements and repairs now through October 31st. Financing is available with payments as low as $115. Call 855-ROOF-HELP for your free inspection. Universal Roof and Contracting, protecting your home, building your trust. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com.
Balancing books and the grind of daily practice is what it takes to be a scholar athlete. Wednesdays on The Frangie Show, kept healthy by
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists
and the Plumbers and Pipefitters Local Union 234.
on 1010XL.
What if you could pull up to $500,000 in cash out of your home and drop your mortgage rate to 4.99% APR? Hey, Prosser here, and right now at Loan Pronto, they've got the lowest rates in 3 years. With Loan Pronto's rapid equity loan, you can get your cash in as little as 3 days, pay off all those high-interest credit cards, and even skip your next 2 house payments. One client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. Paid off their debt, paid off 2 car loans, saved $2,100 a month. One call, life change. There's no wait, no hard credit pull. You probably won't need an appraisal. Just fast, easy cash from your home's equity. Rates at a 3-year low. Act now. Call 914-999-1508 or visit loanpronto.com for your free instant home appraisal. See how much cash you can get today. Call 914-999-1508. See how much cash you can get today. You can also visit loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166171. On approved credit, visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Here's your 1010XL community calendar of local events and nonprofit groups helping people here at home.
It's an evening of connection, laughter, and friendly competition, celebrating the creativity and resilience of our community with costumes, bowling, and prizes. To find out more about the Community Bowling Costume Party October 24th, contact Rebel Recovery.
If you'd like to help dogs find new homes, you can enjoy food, drinks, music, and of course, dogs at the Fall Fermi Festival, November 8th. Find out more at kprok9.com.
Find out how you can be part of the cure for blood cancer at the Light the Night Walk at ViStar Ballpark November 22nd. Take the first step at lightthenight.org.
The Hometown for Heroes Home Buyers Program helps you get your down payment and closing costs paid. Call to learn more. 574-7180.
You can find out how to share your community event at 1010XL.com.
Hi, I'm Chef Franklin Becker. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. Glad you're with us. Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM. More on the Jacksonville Jaguars coming up in just a moment. Certainly the other big story this weekend, the firing of Billy Napier at the University of Florida. You know, we talked last week about would they fire him even if they won a game. I never doubted the fact that they might do it. I just said I would not do it. I didn't think it would be a good look, and I didn't think it was a good look. I think if you're a Gator fan, or if you're a Gator, media member, if you're from around here, you kind of understood that win or lose, he still might get fired. I think nationally, it wasn't looked fondly upon by some analysts and whatnot. And whatever they think is their prerogative. What I did not like, though, is the deafening fire Billy chants, the booing of him coming off the field. Look, I get it, outside of Steve Spurrier, because even Urban got it towards the end, right? If your name isn't Steve Spurrier, Gator Nation has turned on you, right? It's just part of it. In my lifetime, because I'm 41, I remember Gator football probably when I was about 6 or 7, so I started with Spurrier in 90. That's like my fondest memory. Ron Zook, Gator Nation turned on him, right? Urban at the end, certainly. Muschamp, McElwain, Mullen, and now Billy. You don't win at Florida, you're not going to be well received. And that's like that with pretty much any SEC team. Auburn fan is completely done with Hugh Freeze. Have you seen their social media? You look at LSU fan, they're done with Brian Kelly. It's kind of a necessary evil, if you will. If you take a job in the Southeastern Conference, 90% of the time, unless you are Nick Saban or Nick Saban, Steve Spurrier, probably Kirby. Kirby could probably walk on water in Athens. But those guys are few and far between. At some point, the fan base will turn on you, and you kind of know that when you get the job. But the fire Billy stuff, deafening fire Billy chants. Even after a win, booing him coming off the field with his family. I get it. He's going to get $21 million. He's certainly going to be well compensated. Gator fan got tired of losing. I'm right there with you. I didn't want Billy to be the coach anymore either. But there is a human element to it at some point. And you saw Billy get sort of emotional in the post-game press conference on Saturday. I think from time to time, we also forget that these guys put their pants on the same way you and I do every morning, right? These guys are married. They have children. Some have grandchildren. Their families hear all the stuff. So just food for thought moving forward. And by the way, look, and I was thinking about this driving in. All right. So you hire Lane Kiffin, or you hire Eli Drinkowitz, or you hire Marcus Freeman, or whomever you hire. Odds are, if you go based on history, odds are 4, 5, maybe 6 years from now, whomever you hire, Gator Nation will one day turn on them. It's just part of it. Because it's happened to every single coach at the University of Florida in most of our lifetimes, with the exception of Stephen Orr Spurrier. So unless you think you're hiring the next Spurrier, at some point, whoever you hire, you're going to boo that guy out of the stadium, whether it's in 4 years, 7 years, or way on down the line. Having said that, I know everybody wants Lane Kiffin. Well, I shouldn't say everybody. I would say an overwhelming majority of Gator fans want Lane Kiffin. We're going to talk to Ben Troop, former All-American tight end at the University of Florida. He's going to join me in less than 15 minutes or so. We'll get his thoughts on Lane Kiffin. We'll get his thoughts on, if not Lane, who? Eli Drinkowitz, Marcus Freeman, Brent Key. Who else would be in play? Kenny Dillingham. All of a sudden, Jeff Brom is now a name you hear after the win against Miami on Friday night for Louisville. So we'll talk to Ben Troop about all of that, but we'll also talk about DJ Lagway, these young Gator players. What will it take to keep them at Florida? They're all saying the right things today. Lagway went in front of the media today in Gainesville and said, I'm a Florida Gator, and that's great. Because right now, on October 20th, right, he is a Florida Gator. Will he be a Florida Gator on January 20th? Well, that's yet to be seen. But remember the new rule in college football, players on a team that's coach was fired cannot enter the portal until 5 days after a new coach is hired. And the reason why, well, you don't want 50 guys to leave your program when you haven't even hired a coach to try to convince them to stay. So whether it is Lane Kiffin or whomever it is, they will have a little under a week to do their best sales pitch for DJ Lagway, Vernell Brown, Dallas Wilson, Jaden Baugh, and all of these young Florida Gators that are probably strongly considering their futures now that all of them committed to play for Billy Napier, and obviously Billy Napier is no longer around. So more on Billy Napier coming up in just about 15 minutes or so. Again, Ben Troop, former tight end at the University of Florida, All-American in 2003. He will join us then. Back into the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're going into their bye after a 35-7 beatdown at the hands of the LA Rams. I wanted you to hear from Liam Cohen. He spoke to the media earlier today. Again, I give kudos to Liam Cohen. It's not easy to go up in front of the media after traveling all night from London, after getting absolutely eviscerated by your mentor in Sean McVay, and have to talk about 13 penalties, have to talk about 7 sacks given up, have to talk about missed field goals and all the nonsense that happened with this Jaguar football team yesterday. And I thought Liam Cohen did a really good job of that. And he was asked earlier today, look, yesterday sucked, but you're 4-3 going into the bye. I would have gladly taken that personally over a month ago at training camp. What is Liam Cohen's message to the team heading into the bye week, still above 500 overall?
We cannot, absolutely not go back and try to reinvent the wheel here, right? We're sitting at 4-3. Everything's ahead of us. We got to play cleaner football, guys. That's the reality. And until you play cleaner, in between the whistles, right? In between the white lines of playing more fundamentally sound, having better situational awareness, executing and handling the controllables, guys, that's where we're at. Like, we have to pour into that and find out, okay, these 2 days that we have as a staff, all right, what do we do best? Like, what are the things that we do best in all 3 phases? Go and dive into and pour into those things. How do we continue to trim the inventory as a group so that we're not watering down the fundamentals and techniques of our core principles, of the things that's going to make up 80%, 85% of your calls, your call sheet?
I think that's exactly right. I mean, life comes at you pretty quick. So 14 days ago, you know where you were 14 days ago? Odds are you were at Everbank Stadium, or you were clearly watching the game between the Jaguars and the Kansas City Chiefs. Devin Lloyd goes 99 yards for a touchdown. Trevor Lawrence gets tripped or stepped on by Makari, gets up and scores with 23 seconds to go, and the Jaguars win a football game over the Chiefs for the first time in 16 years. Now, I know that game feels like it took place 16 years ago because of what's happened the last 2 weeks. But that was only 14 days ago. We could be sitting here 14 days from today if they go out to Las Vegas and beat the Raiders and say, 5-3, they've steadied the ship. Here we go. NFL is a marathon. There is a roller coaster element to it. There are some ups, there are some downs. And goodness gracious of the Jaguar fan base, you guys experienced the up 14 nights ago, and you experienced the down yesterday morning at Wembley Stadium in London. Liam Cohen was also asked earlier today, 7 weeks in as a first-year head coach, does he know the identity of this year's football team?
I think there's definitely glimpses of who we want to be in a lot of ways. I think, you've won four games and everything is right in front of you. I think this is a actual test of adversity. When we lost to Cincinnati, I didn't think, that there was no question that we should have won the game, right? Like you're leading the game for 89 minutes and you lose. You didn't feel like the ship was moving. It was still very steady. You've lost 2 games in 2 weeks, not playing very well and against some darn good opponents. And when you don't play very well and you're not clean and we're not fundamentally sound, you're not doing those things, you're not going to beat playoff caliber teams like that. And so I think when I do know this team in terms of, I believe that we compete, that we're tough, that we care a lot, that we don't quit.
The thoughts of Jaguar head coach Liam Cohen. Again, thank you to Jaguars.com for that. And yeah, I mean, look, they don't quit. I will agree with that. At least the defense doesn't. 21-0 yesterday. The defense came out in the third quarter, was pretty good. I mean, how many 3-and-outs consecutively did the defense force? And the Jaguars would drive the ball into Rams territory, right? They would get to the Rams 35 or the Rams 40, and then they just wouldn't get any further than that. So very frustrating. Who knows how the game is, if Parker Washington, if that punt touchdown counts. I know it feels like the sky is falling because yesterday was brutal. It was abysmal. And I was as frustrated by it as you guys. But whether you lose 30-29 on a last-second field goal or you lose 35-7, it just counts one time. It's one loss to an NFC team, mind you. It won't have much effect on tie-breaking scenarios. That's why if the playoffs started today, the Jacksonville Jaguars would actually still be in the playoffs as the 7 seed. But there's no doubt. You got to play better. You got to play considerably better because the last 2 weeks have not been good enough. The penalties, the drops, these self-inflicted wounds, right? How many times have we talked about these self-inflicted wounds? If you're Liam Cohen and the coaching staff, I don't really know what to tell them to do at this point. I mean, these guys are professionals. You're supposed to catch the ball, right? If you're a wide receiver in the NFL, you've been playing football at bare minimum 7-8 years between high school, college, and now the National Football League. If you don't know how to catch the football now, I don't know what to tell you. To me, there's not a lot of teaching elements to tell an NFL wide receiver how to catch the football. Holding penalties, illegal contact on the defense. Again, what is the coaching staff supposed to do? They can go over everything. Like Liam Cohen said, control the controllables. And yesterday the Jaguars did not do that. And when you play a good football team and you don't do that, you can get flat out embarrassed. And there is no doubt yesterday was pretty embarrassing for the Jaguars. To me, the bye week comes at a perfect time. Maybe they'll simmer on this one for the rest of the week, and they'll get back next Monday and prepare a trip to Las Vegas to take on a very poor Raider team. Very winnable game for the Jaguars. Again, they got 2 games against the Titans, the Cardinals, the Raiders, and the Jets are 5 of their remaining 10 games. Very, very manageable schedule. The one disappointing thing is I was wrong about Indy. They might actually be good. Now, I know the Chargers have a lot of injuries. Indy went out to L.A. and beat the crap out of the Chargers. And Indy's 6-1, and they're going to be 7-1 because they're going to beat Tennessee. And then their schedule does get tougher. But at a certain point, you just have to admit that the Colts are good. And I'm probably at that point. You don't win 6 of 7 in the NFL unless you're good. So I think Indianapolis is certainly better than I thought they were. The Jaguars can't afford to lose any more ground to them in the AFC South race. More on the Jaguars coming up in just a bit. We'll do a little Jaguars X's and O's with the coach Mark Duffner. He joins us later on here on Hacker After Dark. Coming up next, back into the firing of Billy Napier at the University of Florida. Why did it not work out for Billy? And maybe more importantly, what is next for the Gator football program? Lane Kiffin? And if it's not Lane Kiffin, who would it be? Former All-American tight end at the University of Florida, Ben Troop. He's one of my guys when it comes to Gator football, and he joins us next on a Monday evening here in Northeast Florida. We're glad you're with us. It's Hacker After Dark.
Strap in, Duval. The Jaguars are gearing up to face the Los Angeles Chargers Sunday, November 16th for our annual Salute to Service game. Join us as we honor and celebrate the brave men and women of our military all game long. Secure your seats now and be a part of the action by visiting jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. Let's stand together, Duval.
Pickett here for Zero Res. Are you scared of ghosts? Of course you're not. They aren't nearly as scary as some of the things that Zero Res sees in those air ducts. Ducks straight out of a horror film filled with spooky ducks. Gross dander, creepy cobwebs. Which is why Zero Res is here to banish monsters hiding in your vents. Don't be afraid of ghosts. Be afraid of what's in your air ducts. Call Zero Res today and take advantage of our October special. Mention 1010XL. They're offering 15% off duct and dryer vent cleaning. Zero Res. Spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res. Post-game Monday on 1010XL is served up by Dandy Foods, making quality fresh sandwiches since 1956.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentists and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental with light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, located in Bartram Park.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family-owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Hey, Googans, Hicken here, and I just want to once again give you this very simple reminder. Wear sunscreen. If you're outside a lot, bring the screen. Put some in your truck, on your boat, in your golf bag, whatever, wherever, just use it. Please. It's hot out there, and I just want you to protect yourself. I use it like it's cool because I think it is. But what's not cool, that's skin cancer. You don't want to deal with that. Go get yourself checked out. It could save your life. Go to beachesdermatology.com and schedule your appointment today. That's beachesdermatology.com.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
Hey, Jacksonville DDH. Dreamfinders Danny Hicken here with the scoop from Dreamfinders Homes, your National Builder of the Year. We've got first-year interest rates as low as 2.99% in homes in 20-plus communities throughout Northeast Florida. If you're house hunting, make sure your first pick Dreamfinders Homes, the proud official home builder of the PGA Tour, the Florida Gators, and your Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit DFHSalesEvent.com today and tell them Dreamfinders Danny sent you.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and the fall part of the year just offers so much fun, especially when you're out and about. Tell everybody what's happening with Triumph right now.
They have got a lot of new models on the road, from Scrambler 400s. They've got the legendary Rocket motorcycle. Lots of really cool bikes to choose from.
And the price point and all the tricks that come with the Triumph bike, they're all there.
They're all there. Entry level to the greatest of the great. We've got them.
Look for them online, cyclesofjacksonville.com. Check out their Facebook page or that showroom on Atlantic near Regency.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Big news out of Gainesville yesterday. Billy Napier fired as the head coach of the University of Florida. Why did it not work out for Billy in Gainesville? And certainly the bigger question for Gator Nation, what is next as far as the next head coach down in Gainesville? Former Gator All-American tight end Ben Troop, certainly one of our guys here on 1010XL. We always appreciate his time, and Ben is always kind enough to join us here on Hacker After Dark. Ben, how we doing, pal?
Ryan, I mean, always a pleasure being on with you. I mean, I want to say a sense of relief because I know he's finally out of here, but now the search for the next head coach of Florida begins.
Ben, why did it not work out for Billy Napier at Florida? What went wrong down there?
I think the easiest thing is inconsistency. You're not winning. I know 2024 is an outlier. Having the hardest schedule in 2024, you go 8-5. You're the reason why LSU, Ole Miss, didn't make the college football playoff. All the teams you lost to either went to the college football playoff, played in the SEC championship game, or had a chance to beat. And then you bring that in 2025, you lose to USF. You didn't look like yourself against LSU, had a shot. Didn't look like yourself against Miami, had a shot. Texas A&M kind of got away in the fourth quarter. And Billy's inability to call plays, and he just never, ever, ever wanted to relinquish play calling ability. And the main thing to me, Ryan, is from what I get from down there, the local media, national media, he wasn't really transparent. And I know people say, well, is that a big thing? Yes, because your messaging is only going to come through if you're, talking with your local media about it. You're talking with national guys, letting people, because we never really got to know who Billy was, because I heard he's a great players coach, but as far as X's and O's, it just didn't happen. And like I said, the fact that he survived this long, I played under Ron Zook my last 2 years, who only lasted 3 years. The fact that they gave him 4 years, well, 3 years and, 7 games is incredible to me, because at a place like Florida, 3 things gonna get you fired: losing, reputation, and I think the main one is perception. When the perception of what is going on is really, really close to the reality, they got to get rid of you.
Now, the interesting thing that the NCAA has done is the transfer portal for teams that fire their coach doesn't open until 5 days after a new coach is hired. So whoever gets hired will at least be able to have a sales pitch to the DJ Lagways and the Dallas Wilsons and the Vernell Browns, the Jaden Baws of the world. I mean, if those guys all stick around, the guy that's inheriting them would have a heck of a roster potentially in 2026. You obviously had 2 different coaches at Florida. You played for Spurrier, who left, and then you played for Zook. Understanding the portal back then isn't what it is now, but what is your thought about the young offensive talent with a new coach coming in? Do you expect guys to test waters elsewhere, or is there a potential that these guys could stick around in 2026?
It's so much uncertainty now, Ryan. I mean, it's hard always to put my finger on it, but I do think the new head coach, whoever they get, as long as he just has to introduce himself and have to do the sales pitch less, they're going to stay. Because the one thing that any coach has at his disposal is the University of Florida. There aren't many resume boosters like this. There are other schools that are just as big, if not bigger, but they aren't many. And I think because the schools that they get, because you're most attractive when you first get recruited. And obviously certain guys like a DJ Lagway, like a Jaden Ball, like a Dallas Wilson, like a VB3, those guys, because of what they've done on the field, other teams are going to be looking at them. The new coach coming in, I think that's his first priority. make sure he sits down with these players. And if I got 5 days, that's 5 days to sit down with each player individually. Make one get a scope of, let me get the pulse of what these players are feeling, what they're going through. And number two, all right, man, what is it going to take? I mean, when I say what is it going to take, it's not always monetarily. What are you looking for? I do think, there's certain guys in mind as far as like on the coaching tree, but I think that the thing about the University of Florida is this. You don't have to sell that hard because it's Florida, but because of late, you have to sell a little harder because you haven't been winning. But the next head coach, they're going to have the University of Florida on their chest. They're going to have the University of Florida resources, boosters, attention, exposure. And hopefully he coming with a winning pedigree. If all those things can work in your favor and you losing big-time guys, it could be half the portal, half you. Only time will tell.
Former Gator All-American tight end Ben Troop with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Ben, you got your podcast. I see how active you are on social media. You certainly are very familiar with Gator Nation, and they want Lane Kiffin. At least an overwhelming majority of the fan base wants Lane Kiffin. I believe most of the boosters probably want Lane Kiffin. The question is, A, does the Board of Trustees and AD Scott Strickland, what do they think of Lane Kiffin? And B, does Lane Kiffin want the University of Florida? What is your thought on the whole Kiffin-Florida situation?
Well, I mean, the Board of Trustees, I think, are definitely on board. I think the boosters are definitely on board. Gator Nation is definitely on board. I don't think Scott Strickland got to be on board. He still got to make that call. He still got to interview him. Because the thing about it is, Scott Strickland is the same Scott Strickland that said, don't listen to reports last week about what you're hearing about him getting fired on Sunday. That's not true. He got fired on Sunday. It's the same Scott Strickland they said in 2024 had a meeting in Gainesville with a bunch of boosters that said they wanted to get rid of Billy Napier in 2024 to go after Lane Kiffin. Scott Strickland said no, gave Billy Napier an extension, and you see what happened, after the Texas game. When you think about this Lane Kiffin, does he want Florida? Yep. Does he need Florida? Is the moment, and I would say yes. Here's why. Lane Kiffin head-to-head against Billy Napier lost. Lane Kiffin has never been to Atlanta. Lane Kiffin has never been to college football playoff. Lane Kiffin is a good coach, has the ability to be great. I don't think the greatness is going to come at Ole Miss for two reasons. You're not going to beat Alabama. You're not going to beat Georgia. And I don't think you're going to get the caliber of talent you need to get over the hump. A Lane Kiffin at Florida with unlimited resources, with his name, credibility, winning pedigree, I think he gets all those things. And something somebody told me, Lane Kiffin is no longer the young, hot coordinator. When Lane Kiffin was at his best, he was in his early 40s, late 30s. Lane Kiffin's going to be 50, 51 years old. He's no longer a young coach. And Coach Signetti, obviously, over there in Indiana, he's an outlier, being in his 60s, but he just got a contract extension. Lane Kiffin to Florida makes the most sense because, like I told you, ain't but so many teams can win the national championship. If Lane Kiffin is who he says he is, who he said growing up he wanted to be Coach Spurrier. Well, Coach Spurrier just happens to be down the hall. If you want that type of smoke, which I hope he does, I think he's going to be the guy.
Ben, you played for Spurrier. Obviously, Urban Meyer, uber successful at Florida as well. Those are the main two, quite frankly, and there's a gigantic gap after that. And you look at Spurrier and you look at Urban. Cocky, if not a little bit arrogant, showmanship a little bit. That's the kind of guys that win at Florida. And I would certainly put Lane Kiffin into that criteria. And outside of Spurrier and Urban, other coaches, McElwain, Mullen, Zook. I mean, if you want to go back even before Spurrier, there wasn't a ton of success. There is a type of guy that wins at Florida, and I think Lane Kiffin would follow in that set with the likes of Spurrier and Urban as far as a personality.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, I got a chance to play with Lane Kiffin when I was with the Oakland Raiders. I mean, when his NFL 10, I was actually out there with him and Darren McFadden and Jamarcus Russell, and he was a little bit more timid then because that's a different type of world to be in. His time at Tennessee didn't end up the way he wanted to. He gets back, in the coaching. And you talk about his time at USC. You talk about being the offensive coordinator under Nick Saban. He goes down to FAU and what he's done at Ole Miss. To coach at Florida, you have to have some level of cockiness to you. You don't got to be conceited. You don't even got to be arrogant, but you got to be confident because the smoke and the fire that you're about to witness, only Coach Spurrier, only Ron Zook, only McElwain, only Mullen, only Billy Napier, only Urban Meyer can tell you about. They asked Urban Meyer, man, you went to Ohio State, you went to Florida. Which one was the best for Florida? He said, I love Ohio State. There is nothing like Florida when you were winning. There's nothing like Florida when you win the national championships. If Lane Kiffin's legacy is what I hope he wants it to be. It's going to take a University of Florida to cement it. It's going to be a bunch of coaches win a bunch of games. If I knew that Billy Napier was going to get fired when James Franklin got let go. When a guy that has that many wins and came up and was in the college football playoff semifinals in 2024 and they let him go, yes, he lost to UCLA, and yes, he lost to Northwestern. I think for me, you want a coach like Lane Kiffin or a coach like James Franklin. The coach that comes to Florida, just like I know Ryan, they can't put his resume right. But you know how they do on SportsCenter? They tell him they put his resume. No, he should, first name, last name. You should know. James Franklin, boom. Lane Kiffin, boom. And I know Marcus Freeman is a pipe dream. For those who keep saying Marcus Freeman, you got to have a lot to pull a coach away from Notre Dame. But I think Lane Kiffin is going to be the guy for a lot of reasons. But I think the biggest reason why he's going to come to Florida, because I think ultimately when Ron Zook coached me, he said, Florida was my dream job. I think Lane Kiffin's dream job is Florida. He ain't going to say that out loud because he got to win there, but I think ultimately he want to be in Gainesville.
Final moments with former Gator All-American tight end Ben Troop. Ben, quickly, because I want to end with a Jaguar thought from you. If it's not Lane Kiffin, and certainly that's the guy that most people want, but assuming it's not, we've heard Eli Drinkowitz, like you said, Marcus Freeman. There's some talk about Kenny Dillingham, Jeff Brom. I personally would want Brent Key, but I don't hear that name associated very much right now. If not Lane Kiffin, then who for the Gators?
I think for me, it's got to be an Eli Drinkowitz for a lot of reasons. I mean, you look at the fact that he came over from the Sun Belt just like Billy Napier. Only difference is he's been having tremendous success up there at Mizzou. Yes, I mean, his personality type might not be what you used to in Gainesville, but winning games is what he has been doing. Been very, very competitive. The reason why I say Eli Drinkowitz over maybe a Marcus Freeman, over maybe some of these other guys you mentioned is you got to have a certain tone and tenor about yourself to survive and thrive in the SEC. Everybody ain't built to coach in the SEC. Eli Drinkowitz, his first press conference, I want to say when he went to SEC Media Days, he forgot he was still talking about the Sun Belt, but he's been incredible. He's done at Mizzou what Lane Kiffin has done at Ole Miss, if not better than. So I just think that Eli Drinkowitz, while he's going to be, a very, very kind of like different type dude. He rolls to the beat of his own drum. Look at the results on Saturday. Florida, Scott Strickland, I know he got Coach Gold, and they don't won a national championship already in basketball. This is going to be his biggest hire. This might be the last hire he might get a chance to do at Florida, depending on what's happening. But he's going to have to get it right. No longer can Florida get the guy who other people didn't want. You got to get the guy who everybody wanted, but you got him.
Ben, leave us with this. Let's shift to the NFL. Yesterday was embarrassing for the Jaguars in London. Crazy performance. It was penalties and drop passes. It was just nonsense. But I want to ask you particularly about Brian Thomas Jr. Now, you were an All-American in the Southeastern Conference. You were a second-round draft pick of the Tennessee Titans. You played a number of years in the National Football League. You're a perfect person to ask. Brian Thomas Jr. was a stud in his rookie year, no doubt. And he had all the expectations in the world coming in here for year number 2. And, Ben, it's been bad, man. I mean, drops. There's some people questioning his toughness. Again, I would be very careful using this term, but I'm going to use it because the fan base is using it. They're using the term soft when it comes to Brian Thomas Jr. Again, I would be careful because I don't think anybody's soft in the National Football League, but that's at least some of the fan base conversation. What do you make of the regression of BTJ, and how can he snap out of this?
Number one, I mean, I wouldn't use the word soft either, but I would use the word timid. I would use the word fragile, and I'm talking about his mindset. It happens. It's like when the pitcher can't pitch. I can't remember what they call it when he's on the mound. He can't throw strikes, or a shooter can't get. Brian Thomas gonna have to decide what he wants to be, because no one's gonna feel sorry for you because they know what you have the capability of doing. I would get Brian Thomas on the phone with Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase. Now it only happened in his rookie year as far as like the preseason. He couldn't catch a cold. And then he got to the regular season, and obviously you see what he became. Brian Thomas Jr. is going to have to decide what he wants to be for himself, and he's going to have to be able to take tough love in that process. Having people saying it's going to be okay, having people stroking your ego, having people telling you it's all right. No, dude, it's not going to be all right because you are the guy. Travis Hunter finally went over. He had his best game offensively as a pro, and it didn't mean anything. He finally got his first touchdown. He's doing his thing, and that's the only offensive points y'all put up. Brian Thomas, you too good of a player. it's not like people can cover you. You coming wide open. You just dropping the football. It's going to have to be important to him, or it won't be, because what was the young man y'all had out of Oklahoma State, Blackman?
Yeah.
I remember when he was there.
Yeah.
And his stuff wasn't on the field. It was off. You couldn't do nothing with him. On the field, Brian Thomas Jr. is going to have to look himself in the mirror and say, hey, man, you listen, you getting drafted in the NFL makes you a pro. How you play on Sunday makes you a professional. You got to want to be a professional at what you do, because every time you drop it, the hopes and dreams of Jacksonville is going to go with it. Because guess what? They can't throw the ball to Travis and everybody else, 20 times. And they're going to have to. You the number one. And a lot of pressure comes to being the number one. I hope he figures it out, because I'm like you, Ryan. It's hard to watch, because at a certain point, how many times can you say, what are you doing in one game? 11 drops or 10 drops in the season is unheard of. I think he leads the league in drops right now. And if you don't want that label, say, hey, man, I'm the first guy to lead the league in drops and lead the league in catches. Do that, because he's going to have to build confidence. And unfortunately for Brian Thomas, only he can do that.
Former Gator, All-American tight end, Ben True. Ben, I know you're busy. Thank you as always for the time, and we'll talk soon, pal.
Man, Ryan, anytime you need me, I'm there, man.
The past comes to life in the present.
And the Jaguars are going to the playoffs.
The memories bridge the gap to the future.
From 27-0 to win the game.
Experience the most play-by-play sports on 1010XL.
Rick Ballou here with a congratulations for John's Auto. They've been in business in Jacksonville for 40 years. That's right, going all the way back to 1985. Right now, they'd like to thank each and every one of you who's ever gotten their vehicle serviced at John's Auto. So, car, truck, or diesel, all makes, all models, whether it's a routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul, go to John's Auto on Arlington Road, johnautomotivejacks.com.
When it comes to glass, you don't want average. You want flawless. Duval Glass and Mirror has transformed homes and businesses across Jacksonville for over 35 years. Frameless showers that wow, mirrors cut exactly to your style, fogged or broken glass replaced, decorative tabletops, windows replaced or repaired to stand up to Florida storms. All backed by a 100% guarantee. Visit DuvalGlass.com for your free quote. There's only one name for glass and mirror around these parts. It's Duval.
Go inside your home team's locker room with Jags beat reporter Hayes Carline.
Check out my blog at 1010XL.com.
So you can catch all the news and nuggets you need to know.
My blog is brought to you by Roland Reach Plumbing,
where quality and experience count.
Food that's good for you can taste good too. Flame Broiler has protein-packed bowls to fuel your day. Introducing their new chicken avocado salad bowl. Made with romaine lettuce, rice, cabbage salad, and topped with a delicious house sesame dressing. It's a bowl full of goodness. Eat in, take out, or catered. Flame Broiler is easy to enjoy. Come in Monday through Sunday for happy hour, 2 to 5 p.m. for a chicken mini bowl and drink for $6.95 plus tax. 5 area Flame Broilers to serve you.
Hey folks, this is Denny Thompson, and when it comes to protecting my home, I turn to Tyson, the leaders in state-of-the-art home security right here in Jacksonville. Their AI cameras and smart doorbells are top-notch, keeping an eye on what matters most. Whether you're moving in or upgrading, Tyson offers flexible packages, rent or own, with specials on the first 3 years. Ramp up now for the holidays, the perfect gift for you or someone you love. Call Tyson today at 590-7979 for details.
Hey, David again here with Royal Pest Services. It's that time of year when rodents start making their way into our homes. Layson, tell them what they need to get in.
A quarter-size hole.
That's right. That's all they need. Hey, tell them where to go for a free attic and exterior inspection.
Visit RoyalPestServices.com.
If you're ready to transform your yard with a fence that stands out, elevate your curb appeal with Superior Fence and Rail. Superior takes pride in offering first-class service, friendly installers, and unmatched fence products. Mention this ad and get $250 off your next project. It's time to get off the fence and call today.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Tired of roofers who never answer the phone and just use AI?
I'm Morgan Conley, the People's Roofer. I answer every call. No robots, no runaround. I'm born here, built here, staying here. Visit MorganConleyRoofing.org.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. This is Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Doubleheader Monday Night Football tonight, 10 o'clock Eastern, late night. Houston Texans, Seattle Seahawks. Probably keep an eye on that one if you're a Jaguar fan. Rooting against Seattle last week. Probably rooting for the Seahawks tonight, right? They are at home with the 12th man. Would love for them to put a loss on the Texans. Right now, Tampa Bay and Detroit. Lions 14-3, just out of the halftime locker room. Buccaneers got the opening kickoff to start the second half. They are driving in Detroit territory, about the Lions 35. Again, Lions 14, Buccaneers 3. We will keep you updated. Look, we'll get back into the Jacksonville Jaguars, get back into the Florida Gators as well. Jesse Simonton, one of my favorites to talk college football with. He's going to join me in the 9 o'clock hour again to talk about Billy Napier, Lane Kiffin, what's next for the University of Florida. We'll also do a little Jaguar X's and O's with the coach, Mark Duffner. He's going to join us in the 9 o'clock hour. I did want to mention this. Obviously, Miami on Friday night, their perfect season is over. Carson Beck, 4 interceptions in that loss to Louisville. Miami still controls their own destiny for a college football playoff spot. But I got to tell you, man, for starters, they don't control their own destiny for the ACC championship game anymore, which is interesting. But I still think if Miami wins out and finishes 11-1, they would be in the college football playoff. I don't think they can lose again, though. And look, their schedule is pretty easy on paper. They do have a trip to SMU, which is interesting. But I think Miami, who will be a favorite in the remaining games, as long as they win out, they'll be all right. But with that loss to Louisville, if they were to lose again, probably 2 years in a row, Cristobal's got a really good team that does not get into the college football playoff. Quickly to Florida State. I mean, at this point, what do you say? They were 17.5-point favorites on the road against an awful Stanford team, a Stanford team that has an interim coach in Frank Reich because they had to fill that position in late February after their coach was dismissed for issues off the field. It's a Stanford team that was 2-4 coming in, and they beat Florida State pretty much up and down the field. It was a really crazy ending. Tommy Castellanos took just a wicked shot towards the end of the game. Wild finish, went to instant replay literally on the final play of the game. Ultimately, Stanford did win. Florida State fans are up in arms. They've lost 11 out of 12 in the conference. They've lost 14 of their last 19 under Mike Norvell. Yet athletic director Michael Alford came out earlier today and said they are sticking with Mike Norvell, at least through the end of the year. It was the dreaded vote of confidence. To me, reading the statement and talking to people that follow the program, this is probably postponing the inevitable. This is, well, we probably don't have the buyout money ready on today's date. Talk to us in 6 weeks. Barring him winning out, which I don't think he is going to win out, he being Mike Norvell. I mean, if they win out, then maybe. But aside from winning out, I just think Florida State is postponing the inevitable. I ultimately think he will get fired at season's end. And how crazy would it be if both Florida and Florida State had job openings at the same time? Could they both be targeting the same guys? Lane Kiffin among them? Who knows? But Napier gone. Norvell gets a stay of execution for now. I would highly doubt, though, that Mike Norvell is the head coach at Florida State in 2026. 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. We'll take you up till 10 o'clock, as we do every night here on Hacker After Dark. Coming up next, back into the National Football League. We're glad you're with us on a Monday. It's Hacker After Dark.
Denny Thompson stars as the quarterback whisperer.
Everyone agrees that playing quarterback is the hardest thing to do in sports.
He shares his insights Friday mornings on The Drill. Tuned up by Tyson Sound and Security and George Moore Chevrolet on 1010XL.
Brackish Vodka, the spirit of the sportsman and proud partner of the Jaguars, is now available at the Fresh Market Spirits and Wine. The Fresh Market Spirits and Wine is a new adult beverage store offering spirits, wine, beer, and accessories at A1A North in Ponte Vedra, a first-of-its-kind destination for thoughtfully curated spirits, wine, and beer as only the Fresh Market can. And now, you can get Brackish Vodka at the Fresh Market. Brackish Vodka, for whatever your sport is. Proud partner of the Jaguars.
This is Jeff Middlecoff with Cogent Bank. My associate Ryan Salem and I joined Cogent Bank because we wanted to revolutionize the mortgage business, just like Cogent Bank has revolutionized the banking business. So Ryan Salem and I are able to leverage the power and stability of Cogent Bank to go out and find our clients the best investors, the best products, and the best rates in the entire country for your particular mortgage loan. Of course, you don't have to be a customer at Cogent Bank to take advantage of our mortgage services to buy or refinance your home. We offer jumbo loans, VA, FHA, conventional, and investment loans. At Cogent Bank, we offer mortgages nationwide, so we can help you with a second home or help a family member who lives or is moving to another state. Call Ryan Salem or myself, Jeff Middlecoff, at Cogent Bank today, 904-442-9191, to see how we can help you with any of your mortgage loan needs, whatever or wherever they may be.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender, Cogent Bank, NMLS ID 402296, Ryan Salem, NMLS ID 1182429, Jeff Middlecoff, NMLS ID 249086.
Give us your hot take.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
On the 1010XL text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures.
You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm awake and I speak English, so yeah, I do know what you're saying.
Be part of the conversation. 641-1010. Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
I know you love sports, so why not take that passion and make a difference in your community as a volunteer coach with the YMCA? Whether it's soccer, basketball, volleyball, or flag football, the Y is always looking for positive role models to help kids grow in both skills and character. Even if you've got no coaching experience, that's fine. We'll provide the training. Step up, give back, and be the coach that makes a difference. To volunteer, visit your local Y or fcymca.org.
Hey Jacksonville, Rick Ballou here. Small business owners need trucks and vans to keep your business moving? Jacksonville Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram Westside has Ram 1500s to heavy-duty 2500s, ProMasters, and custom uplifts ready to work. Visit them on Commonwealth Avenue or go online to jaxwest.com. Jacksonville Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram Westside, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars and your local partner for work-ready vehicles.
I love my propane company. They always answer when I call and give me great prices and fast service. Said no one ever.
Until now. Need propane for your home or business? Seabreeze Propane is bringing the propane as North Florida's new local propane provider. Visit SeabreezeLP.com. Seabreeze Propane. We make propane cool, brother. Oh, yeah.
Greenlaw Group is for the insured. If you think you have roof damage, call 904-302-7055 today, and they will schedule you a free roof inspection. Trust their law firm to help you fight your insurance when you need it. These storms can cause damage you may not even see yet. Call Greenlaw Group, 302-7055. There's no cost to retain their law firm and no cost to have your roof inspected. They only get paid if you win. Greenlaw Group, for the insured.
Tired of plumbers trying to sell you instead of help you? At Superior Plumbing and Pipelining, we do things differently. We hire real plumbers, not salesmen, and we never pay commission. That means no upselling, no pressure, and no unnecessary repairs. Just honest, expert work at a fair price. So the next time you need a plumber you can trust, make the superior choice and call Superior Plumbing and Pipelining, where quality comes first and honesty is standard. Superior Plumbing and Pipelining. No commissions, just solutions. Learn more at SuperiorPlumbingJacks.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. After Dark on 1010XL.
Into the 9 o'clock hour we go. Hacker After Dark with you till 10 o'clock right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Jesse Simonton talking college football, talking Billy Napier's firing, talking Lane Kiffin and what's next potentially for the University of Florida. He comes up in less than 30 minutes. Also a little Jaguars X's and O's with the coach Mark Duffner, recapping yesterday's, well, quite frankly, abysmal performance in that loss to the Rams. But again, as we've talked about, shake it out. Shake out the cobwebs. Jaguar fans, it only counts for one game, right? It's just one loss. And if I were to ask you, legitimately ask you, back in late August, or even right around, I guess, Labor Day, right? All right, you'll be 4-3 going into the bye week. Now, you would not have had any idea. That's all the information I gave you. You didn't know who they were going to be. You didn't know how the games were going to go. You didn't know anything other than they were going to be 4-3 after 7 games. I think almost everybody listening would have taken that. And if you're shaking your head no, I have a hard time believing you, seeing as how this team won 4 games in the entirety of 2024, and they have already equaled that 7 games in to 2025. I know it sucks and it feels bad because the way the last 2 weeks have gone, and I'm right there with you. Trust me, doing the 5th quarter yesterday, that was brutal. Great location, by the way. We were at Front Runners Tap House last night. That was great. Great crowd, awesome atmosphere. Loved everything about the location, the company with Leon Searcy. E.T. was there. I mean, it was a fun show. It just wasn't fun talking for 2 hours about 13 penalties. It wasn't fun talking about drop after drop after drop. It wasn't fun talking about another missed field goal from Cam Little. Lack of running game. I don't know what happened. I mean, unless the Jaguars Super Bowl was that Monday night game against Kansas City, and they said, all right, we've reached the summit. We've reached the top of the mountain. We're good. It almost feels like that, right? Talk about a gigantic letdown just 14 days ago. It was 14 nights ago that we were right here at Everbank Stadium watching Devin Lloyd go 99 yards. And how quickly things can change in just 14 short days. With that as a backdrop, things can change again in 14 days. So I'll be sitting right here in this studio 14 nights from tonight, recapping week number 9 in the game against the Las Vegas Raiders. If they win that game, get to 5-3, okay. If they lose that game, their 3rd loss in a row, and fall to 500, oh boy. I think at that point you have to start being concerned about the wheels falling off. We know the wheels have already fallen off in Nashville. They've already fired their coach, Brian Callahan. Did you see this earlier today? Tyler Lockett, the former Seahawk wide receiver that signed with the Titans in free agency, was released today by the club, not for anything that he did on the field. It's for what he asked them to do. He said, please get me out of here. I don't want to be a part of this anymore. I don't know if he technically said that, but he asked for his release because at his age, he doesn't want to be part of this. They're maybe the worst team in football. The guy they fired in Mike Vrabel just went back in there yesterday with New England and beat them 31-13. How embarrassing is that? At least Gus Bradley or Urban Meyer or Doug Marrone or Doug Peterson hasn't come back a year or 2 later and beat us by 3 touchdowns. Talk about just rubbing your nose in it when you're down. So Tyler Lockett says, yeah, I'm out of here, man. I don't want to be a part of this. Please get me out of here. And to the Titans' credit, they did. Denmark, Jaguars have issues at wide receiver. Does Tyler Lockett do anything for you?
No.
He's free. Wouldn't cost you anything. I don't know how much he does for me either. But one thing Tyler Lockett doesn't do a lot of is drop the ball. He's older. He's not going to give you a whole lot of speed on the outside. But Tyler Lockett will catch the ball, which is something that not many Jaguar wide receivers outside of Travis Hunter can say right now. Travis Hunter, by far and away, was the only silver lining in yesterday's game. Clearly his best performance as a Jaguar, and that'll certainly be something to build on for Travis and this organization moving forward. Let's break down the X's and the O's of the Jacksonville Jaguars with the coach, Mark Duffner. 50 years of coaching experience. Love having Coach Duffner on Hacker After Dark, and he joins me next on a Monday evening in Northeast Florida. And as always, Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us.
He's not a senior citizen. He's Jacksonville's senior writer, John Osher. And knows your favorite football team. Wednesdays from 10 to noon on Jaguars Today. Served up by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick. We're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year, and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, it only costs for the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org, and you can apply there.
Apply by November 6th.
Taste it all for less with our Sonny's Originals, packed with your choice of proteins, 2 sides, and bread, starting at $16.99. That's why it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
Don't ghost your carpet this fall. Hicken here. Right now, you can get your entire home zero-resified from Jacksonville's Ultimate Carpet Cleaner and get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $139 plus a free haul for Halloween. Get it? There's something scarier than ghosts and goblins hiding in your home. It's in your air ducts. This month, take 50% off your air duct and dryer vent cleaning. Schedule your appointment at ZeroResJacksonville.com. Ask for the 1010XL special. Zero Res, spelled backwards or forwards, it spells the same. Zero Res.
Zero Res.
Go!
The Friday night lights stay bright well after the game. Catch the winning coaches with Hacker and Dylan Denmark.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists Friday Night Lights.
Presented by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey, and I only like to recommend the best, which is why I'm proud to say that I chose Pella Windows and Doors for my own home. And now's a great time to upgrade your home with 0% financing for 60 months. That's 5 years of interest-free payments on the best windows and doors in the business. Don't wait. Schedule a free consultation at PellaJacks.com or visit their showroom on Phillips Highway just north of Bay Meadows. For quality you can trust and savings you can't miss, that's Pella Windows and Doors.
Hi, I'm Chef Franklin Becker. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
Hey Googans, Hicken here, and I just want to once again give you this very simple reminder. Wear sunscreen. If you're outside a lot, bring the screen. Put some in your truck, on your boat, in your golf bag, whatever, wherever, just use it. Please. It's hot out there, and I just want you to protect yourself. I use it like it's cool because I think it is, but what's not cool, that's skin cancer. You don't want to deal with that. Go get yourself checked out. It could save your life. Go to beachesdermatology.com and schedule your appointment today. That's beachesdermatology.com.
Hey, it's Travis from Cannons of Jacks. Thank you for trusting us for 55 years of custom welding fabrication and vehicle towing accessories. When you need a trailer hitch for the family car, a gooseneck for the company truck, or even RV towing options, call us at Cannons. We can do a bumper hitch, fifth wheel hitch, anything for safe, reliable towing. Come to Cannons of Jacks, where service is our #1 priority and we treat our customers as we like to be treated. Check us out online, cannonsofjacks.com.
Hey, Jacksonville DDH. Dreamfinders Danny Hicken here with the scoop from Dreamfinders Homes, your National Builder of the Year. We've got first-year interest rates as low as 2.99% in homes in 20-plus communities throughout Northeast Florida. If you're house hunting, make sure your first pick Dreamfinders Homes, the proud official home builder of the PGA Tour, the Florida Gators, and your Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit dfhsalesevent.com today and tell them Dreamfinders Danny sent you.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars heading into a much-needed bye week now after a 4-3 start to the year, but a 2-game losing streak, including, quite frankly, what was a disaster at Wembley Stadium in London, England, a 35-7 loss to the Los Angeles Rams, a game that Jacksonville just did not look very good in, to be honest with you. Let's get all kinds of thoughts on the Jags from yesterday and moving forward with a man that's been a coach in the game of football for over 5 decades, both collegiately and in the National Football League. That's my buddy Mark Duffner, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Coach, how we doing, pal?
We're doing great, Hacker. We're anxious, just like everybody right now, to kind of get back to what Jaguar football is all about. I'm sure that's going to go. That'll be the focus and the plan for the next week or so as they prepare during the bye for their next game against the Raiders.
You know, Coach, for me yesterday, a media guy, that was unbelievably frustrating to watch. I can't even imagine for a guy like you that has given your life to the game, 50 years of coaching experience. When you watched that performance yesterday by the Jaguars, Coach, what were your biggest takeaways?
Well, I'm just, I'm like you and like everybody, I'm just a little perplexed, I think, at the focus of our team right now because the play, the inconsistency of the play and the penalties and drops and things that occur during the course of the game are not Jaguar-like. They're certainly not reflective of the team prior to the last 2 weeks. But I think, the inconsistency in the play across the board, whether it be offense, defense, special teams, and the self-inflicted issues, whether it's, again, miscues in communication, miscues in execution, and as I said, the discipline lacking relative to penalties, it's a focus issue, I believe. So I think this timing, or the timing of the bye, couldn't come at a better time for real serious, personal evaluation, players, coaches, all of us right now in terms of, how we're doing things and certainly to get back to doing things the way they did starting out the year, which was very successful.
Coach, there are so many issues with this team. Let's just kind of go one by one. Let's begin with the wide receivers, particularly Brian Thomas Jr. Now, a lot of guys had the drops yesterday, no question about it, but let's focus on BTJ. Coach, there's an issue there, right? I mean, it's a clear regression from where we were last year. It has really not gotten any better. Can you put your finger on the situation with Brian Thomas Jr.? Because it's a question for a lot of people right now.
Well, Hack, I wish I could, and I think that probably the coaching staff and Brian himself wish they could in some respects because, as you said, it's crept up a little too often, and I wouldn't play last year. I know he had such a prolific season last year, but it's something's going on right there, whatever it is. I wish I knew, or we would have, hopefully we would have fixed it by now. But I think that, again, this little break will help with that. I know the coaching staff and he are going to work hard and focus in on trying to determine what the issue is and try to get him back into just the groove that he certainly demonstrated consistently last year and being able to make plays and big plays as a wide receiver. So, darn, it's been hard, and I think sometimes when the team is struggling and this team is struggling at the moment, the strong tendency for most of us is to press. You tend to overdo things. You tend to overthink. You maybe overpress or you overexert. And then frustration will set in, and frustration is the enemy too. So I think that trying to get out and just focusing on a plan to take one play at a time and to again improve total focus in what you're doing and see if that doesn't lead to better production.
Breaking down the Jaguar X's and O's with the coach, Mark Duffner, here on Hacker After Dark. Coach, now let's go to the offensive line. It wasn't long ago the Jaguars had a top 5 rushing attack in the league. I remember the San Francisco game. The 49ers didn't even register a hit on Trevor Lawrence. And now all of a sudden in the last 2 games, the offensive line has surrendered 14 sacks, and they're not running the ball. I mean, Coach, why all of a sudden in the last two games has the offensive line come back down so far to earth from where they were maybe a month ago?
Well, Hacker, I think that part of it, Hainsey, as you know, the center, who's kind of been a very steadying force for that group, as the season got started and early on in the season, got hurt and wasn't able to play in the Seattle game. And then I think he was obviously able to play, yesterday in London. But I think that they've lost a little of their perhaps personality, perhaps part of their communication also. Really, in the last two games, there's been a very different approach. We kind of maybe lost our plan to really establish the run game. We ran it yesterday decently. They had over 90 yards and had, a decent yards per carry, if you will. But, I think that that's part of it right now. Our MO early in the season was physicality, was establish the run game to let the rest of the game, the rest of the offense come off of that. And so, I think that, again, losing that a little bit, there's also been a focus, and a good one too, to try to get explosive plays in the pass game. Well, again, I think we've got to analyze really the true strengths of that group, and then try to get back to what you already said. I mean, they were playing at a terrific level early on, and that's capable. I would show them those plays and those films again, so they recognize, hey, that's us. That's who you are. Let's get back to that. But that's been a factor for sure. It's affected all phases of the production and the run game and the pass game for the offense.
I feel for Liam Cohen because he has said repeatedly, publicly, that the Jaguars will not beat anybody until they stop beating themselves. And I can't imagine how many times he's emphasized that behind closed doors. And yet 13 accepted penalties, Coach. The Jaguars committed even more than that. But there were 13 accepted penalties for over 100 yards. I mean, that is just sloppy nonsense, in my opinion, from a coaching perspective. How do you explain over 100 yards in penalties yesterday?
Well, it's difficult to do, and again, I think that some of it sometimes, as I said, when you talk about it so much, sometimes then players and all of us will try to, like I said earlier, press to try to avoid it, and then they wind up actually just causing the situation to get worse. I think that to just, again, I would emphasize the positive plays and let them see those positive plays. And, again, we're not going to accept sloppy play, but they've demonstrated darn good play. And I would lean towards, again, trying to show them that, require that in terms of our practice plan. They're going to look at that now in terms of preparation here as they've got a little more time in the bye week for the Raiders, to going through that right now. In other words, let's study all the situational awareness things that we're doing. Let's study the fundamentals and drills that we're doing so that, again, we get back to what has been Jaguar football early in the year, which has been, again, a pretty consistent approach in terms of, again, physicality, running the football properly, those kind of things in terms of what the offense is all about.
Final moments with the coach, Mark Duffner. Coach, let's go to your bread and butter, the defensive side of the ball. They just simply have to generate more pass rush. Now, I don't know what they need to do. Obviously, Trayvon Walker's essentially playing with one hand. Joshua Hines-Allen has half a sack in 7 games. But whatever they need to do, they have a week and a half to figure it out before the Las Vegas game, because right now they're just simply not affecting the opposing quarterback.
Well, and sometimes the way you affect the quarterback is how the game goes. In other words, when you're behind, it's a little bit more difficult to the offense now can pretty much do what they want to do. And so, kudos to the Rams yesterday. They were able to, navigate and methodically move the football, especially in the first half, with pretty efficient progress, if you will. So that goes into it. But you're 100% correct. We've got to be able to affect the quarterback, and that comes with the rush. That comes with coverage working together. That comes with timely insertion, if you will, of pressure, and and each player owning up to winning the one-on-ones when they get it in terms of rush, whether it's a linebacker or whether it's the front. They're not always sacks that are the desired outcome, and we'd love to have sacks, but any way we can get the quarterback off the spot, where we can bat the ball down, where we can force incompletions, have him hurry his throws, have him uncertain of where to go with the ball because of the disguise you demonstrate. All those things are very, very important. And I think, and like I said, the challenge to each player to step up their game. It's been tougher for our Travion because of the fact he has had the one-arm bandit, so to speak. But all of them right now have got to really focus in on how I can improve my game, running pass-wise. You asked about the pass game and how coverage and rush can work together in terms of being productive.
Coach, I want to end with a big picture thought, but quickly on Cam Little. I mean, I'm at the point now where I'm certainly not going to cut him, but I am going to bring in somebody on the practice squad. I'm going to have kicking tryouts, and I'm going to sign somebody and put on the practice squad. I need another kicker in that building to tell Cam Little this is not acceptable, and you better start making some kicks pretty quick. I mean, what's your thought on that situation?
Well, I think your action plan is a good one as far as that's concerned, and I'm not so sure it's not applicable in a number of positions right now that we need people playing with more consistency. I would, before I answer that thoroughly, our quarterback's got to play with better consistency, and that affects the whole outcome of the game. You've got now people pressing to make up for inconsistent play, starting with him. We're missing too many easy throws. Yes, we're going to say, oh, that was a good throw, this was a good throw, but way too much inconsistency right now by that position. The quarterback's, I think he's last in the league in terms of completion percentage. Well, come on. And a lot of them, I don't think there's a game that's gone by where, you've looked at it and said, my God, how does he miss these easy throws here? So consistency is a big factor. But again, across the board, again, taking away the ability that people are trying to press to do their job. Just do your job. Do it to the best of your ability. Do not get in a situation where, again, you're overthinking, overdoing it, and trying to overcompensate, because then that leads to the misses that we're getting on all three phases. I hope that the kicker, I certainly was impressed with what I saw with him in the preseason, but I think they're all affected a little bit by the inconsistency of play that the teams got at this point the last couple of weeks. And especially, as I said, I think it starts with where the quarterback is. So we've got to get that squared away for sure.
Coach, final thought. We got about 60 seconds. When we take a deep breath here, we've just been very critical for the last 12 minutes, and with good reason, but they are 4-3. If you would have told me at training camp they're going to be 4-3 going into the bye, I would have taken that. Now, I do think there are different 4-3s. There's an excited 4-3, and there's a lot of questions at 4-3. I think the Jaguars are certainly in the latter based on the last 2 weeks. But it is important to put into perspective 4-3, and heck, if the playoffs started today, the Jaguars would be in them.
Well, yeah, Shaq, and that's we got to know, and these players have to know more than even us, that they started the season and really were 18 seconds from being 4-0, and so I think that the wins that they had against Houston, who I think still going to prove to be a darn good team, to beat them when that hadn't been done in the past, when they've come to Jacksonville, those were not fairy tales. That was done. Beating San Francisco on the road, all these beating Kansas City on Monday Night Football, all those are things that they have done, not hoped to do. They did. Now we've got to, again, get that confidence and that focus, if you will, that they have demonstrated before, back into their vision, get it into the 2020 part of what they're doing, and now move forward. So, as you said, a lot of positive things right now. We all got kind of in the euphoria of how they kind of started out right now, and the positive thing is that this is a long season. We're not quite even halfway there right now, so there's no time to panic. There is plenty of time right now for introspection and also improvement. And I think that'll be the major focus that the coaching staff and the players alike will have as they move forward.
Always love breaking down the Jaguars X's and O's with the coach, Mark Duffner. Coach, appreciate you as always, pal. We'll talk soon.
Okay, Hacker. Appreciate you very much.
1010XL celebrates the life and memory of Tony Marinatos. He was among the first to believe in our vision as an investor and our biggest supporter. A mentor and friend, Tony's spirit will carry on in the heart of 1010XL.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Hey, this is Lauren Brooks. With over 1,700 five-star Google reviews, it was a no-brainer to have Closets by Design help us get organized at home. They create custom storage for every space, lifestyle, and budget. From closets to garages to laundry rooms and more. Closets by Design will transform clutter into seamless organization. Call today to schedule a free in-home consultation and get 40% off plus an extra 15% off with free installation, but only until October 31st. 18-month financing is available. Call 904-878-9393 or visit closetsbydesign.com.
Post-game Monday on 1010XL is served by Tandy Foods, making quality fresh sandwiches since 1956.
Say goodbye to glasses and contacts with customized vision treatments at Bowden Eye & Associates. Hey, Hicken here. Dr. Bowden and his expert team bring you all the latest options like Evo implantable Coliber lenses, refractive lens exchange, or traditional LASIK. Tailored just for you. Imagine waking up to clear vision. No hassle, no fuss. You ready to see the difference? Call now or visit BowdenEye.com for a free screening. Bowden Eye & Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. Call 904-722-1111.
Instant Keys saves the day if you've lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call Instant Keys, 722-1111.
Did you know that for every inch of rain on a 2,000 square foot roof, 1,500 gallons come off the eaves of the roof? Call Clearwater Seamless Gutters and Drainage, and we'll design a plan using our Clearwater Seamless Gutters, and we'll connect those gutters to a Clearwater drainage system to solve your erosion and standing water issues.
Clearwater Seamless Gutters. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at gutters. And drainage, too.
SeamlessGuttersJacksonville.com.
San Jose Collision is hiring for an automotive detailer and porter. If you're detail-oriented, dependable, and love working with cars, apply in person at San Jose Collision in Mandarin. Valid driver's license required.
Celebrating 30 years in Jax Beach. Beach's Jewelry and Pawn is your go-to for cash on the spot. They buy gold. Huge sale on firearms all month. Save during Florida's Second Amendment sales tax holiday with no sales tax on firearms. Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
Guys, don't suffer through this season with prostate, bladder, or kidney issues. Ackerman Urology has 4 convenient locations with advanced urological care to improve your health and vitality. Visit AckermanUrology.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Billy Napier out as head coach of the University of Florida. After less than 4 years on the job, they fire him yesterday, even after a win Saturday night over Mississippi State. Why did it not work out for Billy Napier in Gainesville? And certainly the bigger question, what will Florida do at the head coaching position moving forward? One of our favorites is Jesse Simonton. He's covered the world of college football for years, and Jesse's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Jesse, how we doing, man?
Doing well, doing well. Crazy time of year right now. Lots of stuff. Awesome games happening, and the drama behind the scenes and off the field, I think, is been just as wild and only going to pick up steam here as we kind of continue to get closer to the holidays.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I know you're busy with all this news coming out, particularly around the Gators, so we appreciate you joining us. All right, Billy Napier out after, I guess, 3.5 years on the job. I know we've talked in the past, Jesse, about Billy, but now that it is over for him in Gainesville, in your opinion, why did it not work out? Why was it a failure for him?
Well, I think Billy probably did a lot of stuff positively, frankly, when you look back at his tenure in terms of who's going to inherit this job in the future. He has positioned this program, I think. And I think kind of what he got in terms of the investments, whoever gets this job next, I think there's kind of a no excuses situation. Napier, frankly, just had a really bad problem on Saturdays. He was not a good in-game coach. He was in over his head. His offense, which was, I think, part of the reason he was purportedly hired in the first place from Louisiana Lafayette, was really never that good. And so even though I do think Florida has a pretty talented roster, I think the facilities are obviously top notch now. There's a lot of positives for this program in terms of what they can offer the next head coach. Napier, Monday through Friday, maybe was not that bad in hindsight in terms of some of the organizational stuff. But when it came to actually putting the product on the field on Saturday, whether it was the special teams woes, again, even though they won on Saturday in almost kind of a dirt fashion against Mississippi State with that, fat man INT at the end there, there was, another 11 men or too many men on the field penalty, on special teams. And it's just like, that's something that happened far too often in game. And so, the results paid that out. You had 2 back-to-back losing seasons and then kind of turn around 8-5 a year ago, but you get off the skids to start this year. And I think once that South Florida result happened, there was kind of no coming back at that point for Billy.
Jesse, we've seen people at Florida not do well, right? Ron Zook, Will Muschamp, Jim McElwain, Mullen, although Mullen was probably better than the other guys. And they all got head coaching opportunities after they were gone from Florida. Do you think Billy Napier, whether it's group of 4, I suppose, will he get another head coaching opportunity down the road, in your opinion?
You know what? I hadn't actually thought about that. That just hadn't been something that I had considered. But I would say, quick answer, my gut says yes. I think Billy is and remains pretty well liked, by the administrative folks at Florida. He's a personable guy. He's obviously well connected. The fact that he's coached, for Dabo, for Saban, for some of these guys. And so it would not surprise me at all if in a couple of seasons after maybe he does kind of the whether he goes on ex coach, maybe he goes back to Clemson. I don't know, but just hypothetically, he goes to somebody's staff for a couple of years, kind of rebuilds up his resume, that he gets another crack at a G5, G6, job in a couple of years down the line.
Jesse Simonton with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. All right, Jesse, obviously for the Gator fans listening here in Northeast Florida, a majority, I'd say an overwhelming majority of them, talking about what's next, and they're hoping that's Lane Kiffin. That is the name that you hear associated prominently with this job. I know you have a lot of thoughts on that. What is your overall thought on Kiffin and the Gators? Do you see something like that happening?
Well, I think you have to kind of talk about it almost in 2 different, vantage points here. One, Lane Kiffin would be an awesome hire for Florida. He has become a proven winner. What he's done at Ole Miss, which is not a traditional SEC, top tier job, top tier program. He has won there. He has not kind of cracked through that glass ceiling yet in terms of making the college football playoff. Maybe that happens this season. He's a guy who he doesn't really wear a visor anymore, but he used to wear a visor and he used to be, talk a lot. He still is a crazy troll and can score a lot of points. And so there's a direct line there between that and kind of the good old days of the fun and gun of Steve Spurrier. So it makes total sense why Florida fans want Lane Kiffin. The macro point, though, and I think it's a separate conversation here that I think a lot of Florida fans are maybe bucking up against or having a hard time understanding, is that this is not 2019 or even 2021. I guess you could say the last time they were in the market for a head coach, but certainly the last time when they were in the likes of hiring Dan Mullen. And that is, Florida is not a top 10 job anymore. In the NIL, new world of college football, it's just a totally different deal. And so the resources and the money and the facilities, they're all great. They're top notch. I would say Florida's kind of university stability with what's going on with the vacuum at the president position, the fact that Strickland looked like he could have been out with Napier a year ago, but yet now he kind of has an extension. That's not exactly a strong suit. But when you line up all these jobs, Florida is no longer just a slam dunk in that top 10. And so then that leads you to, would Lane Kiffin leave Ole Miss? If Florida and Ole Miss are nominally not that different, because he's not really going to make any more money at Florida, the expectations are absolutely going to be way bigger and more outsized than they are at Ole Miss. Would Lane Kiffin leave? And I think that's kind of the difficulty that a lot of Florida fans are kind of having to grasp right now, that this is not what it was 5-10 years ago in terms of Florida's viability on the open market.
Jesse, it's interesting you bring that up, and that's a point that I've made in the past. And I think a lot of Gator fans struggle with that point, quite frankly. Like you said, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, there's something to be said that Florida is a better job. But in the land of NIL, in the land of the portal, in the land that we live in here, I think the Gators have come back to the pack. And I think if you're Ole Miss, I think you can compete with Florida in certain regards. Now, the question is, has Lane done all he can do at Ole Miss, and has he reached a ceiling, and does he realize that, and does he realize Florida, maybe from a standpoint of recruiting and such, and player acquisition, can he get to a higher ceiling in Gainesville than he can in Oxford?
Yeah, that's a question worth asking. It's also, I think it's worth acknowledgement that because Florida has been so, or their fans, I should say, but even I think there's some folks behind the scenes that have, it is so known that Lane is kind of 1A on this wish list, that Kiffin has all the leverage here. He's going to be coaching a team again that is going to be on the doorstep of the playoff this season, coming off the heels of a couple, double-digit win years. And so he's going to be able to kind of get whatever that God contract, God offer he wants. And is Florida willing to kind of go down that road if it, again, doesn't work out? And so, with the rumors surrounding Mike Norvell that Florida State doesn't have the money, but they're going to find it anyways to kind of, move on from him. If that does come to fruition, then you're talking about yet another big job coming on the market that you're kind of competing for light candidates with, which only kind of further complicates this whole deal.
Final moments with Jesse Simonton talking college football and the Gator head coaching position that is open now after the firing of Billy Napier. All right, Jesse, as we begin to wrap up, if it's not Lane Kiffin, and again, certainly the majority of Gator fans, that's the guy they want. Other names you hear is Eli Drinkowitz, Missouri. I think you're hearing Marcus Freeman, Notre Dame. I don't know how realistic that one actually is. Maybe Dillingham at Arizona State. What are you hearing as far as candidates maybe beyond Lane Kiffin?
Yeah, I think if Dillingham leaves his alma mater, that he would be a much more natural fit, I think, in Tallahassee. So I don't see that one happening. I think that Florida would be foolish not to call Marcus Freeman. You at least there's nothing to lose by getting on the phone there and seeing, hey, you want to come south, you want to coach in a conference. We'll see. I don't think that's likely either, but I think it costs nothing to take a swing there. The Gators could do a lot worse than Eli Drinkowitz. I know a lot of fans aren't seemingly that excited about that, which is kind of odd because he's, again, not that too dissimilar from this kind of Spurrier model of 2025. He stands up there on the podium and will talk the smack He's an offensive guy. He's rocking the visor. He's not afraid to kind of, get in the mix with other coaches and whatnot. And so, I don't know if it's some, whatever happened with him and Dan Mullen, if some Florida fans are still holding on to that. But I think they would do way worse. I've mentioned on this before. I think Florida should absolutely, if they have to go down this list and Kiffin says no and Drink it doesn't work out, no Freeman, I think the Gators should absolutely give a guy like Brent Key a call. What he's doing at Georgia Tech is super impressive. I think the pairing of him and offensive coordinator Buster Faulkner is among the best in college football. Now, there's some dangers there that I think Buster is going to get a head coaching job sooner rather than later, but he would be on that list. And then another guy who had a big weekend over one of Florida's rivals, Jeff Brom, offensive coach, has kind of won at a lot of programs where, that are lesser than. So what could he do with Florida's resources and NIL budget and ability to recruit top talent? I think that would be interesting as well.
Jesse, final question. We got 60 seconds. Why so many job openings in 2025? People are pulling the trigger very, very quickly. You look at Florida, Penn State, Virginia Tech, UCLA, Arkansas, go down the line. I think there's already 11 job openings, probably more to come. Surprising to you that so many coaches are out so quickly this year?
Well, it's ironic because so many people in this space, in the media space, were decrying the death of the days that these administrations would pay these big buyouts, that money had to go to players, that they had to go to the NIL budgets and the like. And suddenly, voila, they found the money, or, they'll find the money somehow. And that's because I think what you're seeing, you can draw a direct line to Bloomington, Indiana, which was the biggest loser in college football history until Kurt Cignetti got there. And suddenly they look like they legitimately could win a national championship in year 2. And so the ability to turn over a roster and program in a flash, in a snap, I think has ADs trigger happy to say, hey, if we're not getting it done here, we're going to go find a guy who will.
Jesse, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville where they can find your work covering the world of college football and, of course, the opening there at the University of Florida.
Yeah, I have a Substack newsletter, free. Come read it. It's called Surrender Cobra. I think a lot of Florida fans were doing the Surrender Cobra meme, right until they got that interception on Saturday night. So they were able to enjoy the victory and then say, hey, all right, let's flush it and find out if we're going to have a new coach come, a month or two from now. So stay tuned.
Jesse Simonton, always appreciate his work covering the world of college football. Jesse, appreciate it again. I know how busy you are. Thank you for the time, and we'll talk soon, pal.
Thank you.
And thank you to Jesse Simonton for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark to talk about the firing of Billy Napier in Gainesville. Napier becomes the 11th coach already fired in college football, 11 openings, and we're still in the month of October. You would have to assume many more openings will happen over the next month or two. Penn State, Oklahoma State, Arkansas, Virginia Tech, UCLA, and that's just to name a few. And now, obviously, Florida. And we'll see what the next steps are. Obviously, a lot of people listening, a lot of Gator Nation. I'd say an overwhelming majority of Gator Nation is all in on Lane Kiffin. We will see if that's ultimately the direction Scott Strickland and the Board of Trustees down in Gainesville want to go. Would Kiffin be interested in leaving Ole Miss to come to Florida? And if not Kiffin, then who? Whether it's Eli Drinkowitz at Missouri, Kenny Dillingham, Arizona State, Marcus Freeman, Notre Dame. I'm personally a big fan of Brent Key at Georgia Tech. So a lot of angles to this story. And again, we won't have closure on this for a while. Anybody Florida hires will probably be a good month and a half, 2 months at the earliest away from taking the Gator job. So we certainly spent a ton of time on that. Also spent a bunch of time on the Jacksonville Jaguars and the absolute, disaster that yesterday was over at Wembley Stadium in London, England. Jaguars fall 35-7 to the Rams in a game that, quite frankly, wasn't even that close. The Rams, at times yesterday, looked like they were just, quite frankly, bored. The Jaguars committed penalties, dropped passes, missed kicks. It was bad. It was bad. And the Jaguars have a bye week coming up. They're 4-3. All is not lost. They're 4-3, but they need to figure some stuff out. They need to figure it out pretty quick before they go out and play the Las Vegas Raiders a week from Sunday in a game 12 days from now, or I guess 13 days from now. That's really going to be a vital game. Right? If you beat the Raiders, you're back to 5-3, and you kind of take a deep breath. If you lose to the Raiders and you have lost then 3 in a row and go to 4-4, the wheels could potentially come off of the 2025 season. So that'll just about do it, man. Very, very busy Monday night here on Hacker After Dark. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. We have a ton of people to thank. Again, Jesse Simonton covering the world of college football. Thank you to Ben Troop, former All-American tight end at the University of Florida. Always love talking Gator football with former Gator tight end Ben Troop. And a little Jaguars X's and O's tonight with the coach, Mark Duffner. Always appreciate Coach's perspective as we had him on to talk about the 4-3 start and what needs to be done for the Jaguars heading in to this much-needed bye week. Now, we will be back tomorrow night on a Tuesday, and we will do it all over again beginning at 8 o'clock. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job.